Let's see. Okay, so I'm just gonna test my how embarrassing. It looks like my mic is now working. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and go and and see if anybody wants to chat in the comments and see if I'm actually on here. I apologize huge for the delay here. So I've got limited time. I can hear you typing. Oh, but not speaking. Loud and clear. Okay, great, awesome. Thank you. Sorry, Amber and okay, there's rude comments. I'm not sure how to delete these. I'm gonna block. Um, yes, so Corinne's team has been really good about having us get on and practice and know what we're doing here. Hi, Carrie. And I have had amazing things get in the way of that. So I've been practicing this morning and apparently my mic was muted. So I'm here now. My name is Sonia June Carey, and I'm a graduate of Corinne Grillo's Angel Alchemy Academy in 2019, which most of the and currently now the angel alchemists have a spirit guide animal totem name of the group, and we were the Meerkats. So I'm very proud of that. So I'm glad everybody can hear me now. My message can be kind of quick. What was coming, or enough in our time. So what was coming through for me um, is that I should talk about just the season of autumn and letting go and support for this because it is kind of a really magical time of year. No matter where you're living, I work with Western astrology, which is either like a Greek or a Nordic tradition, but jives really well with the Northern Hemisphere. And I know there's people from other places, like down under and New Zealand and different, and even anyway, there's places where the seasons are reversed. In the Western astrology wheel, we're really working with they kind of coincide with the Northern Hemisphere seasons. But autumn is a time of releasing and letting go. So even if you're in the Southern Hemisphere and you're in this seasonal time of Libra, soon switching to Scorpio, you're still in the astrological wheel of letting go. Whether you look out the window and see brown leaves forming or dropping, or you live in Hawaii and it's perpetual summer, the astrology wheel remains the same. And so I was thinking of talking about planets, and which I may. And what really came in for me the last few days, and especially this morning, was to keep it real basic, kind of on the wheel. And this is a time of release. I know in many of Corinne's teachings and some of her groups, she also kind of heralds this as a time of celebration and harvest and gathering. And so it's interesting that it's a lot about both. But what happens on the astrology wheel is we enter into the fall season at the start of the sign of Libra, and then we move into the middle of fall or autumn would be Scorpio, and then after that we move into Sagittarius. So we've just congratulations everybody. We survived a lunar eclipse and a solar eclipse, and the solar eclipse I believe was on October 1st. I took notes just so I didn't say anything completely off. And that happened in the sign of Libra. So kind of a big charge, and even could be used as a portal, if you will, for the way we engage in relationships and our worthiness, um, as a merged team with somebody, but also as ourselves. And so relationships could have kind of gotten shaken up during this time, or your connection to yourself within a relationship. So, kind of during a solar eclipse, things are up for reevaluation, but it's kind of like things have already been happening for a while, and there can be an event, or sometimes it's even just an inner event that kind of brings things to the surface that inspires change or guides us to release something that is no longer serving us, or our outer reality can synchronize and call us to awareness of what we need to let go of. So sometimes ties are loosened without us, really instigating it. Like if a relationship loosens or ends or changes its format, sometimes that's not our decision or our planning because there's two people involved. So here I'm still kind of speaking about this Libra eclipse because it was pretty big for many people that I know. And so there could be, when relationships change, it can be a little bit, let's see, like we're kind of trying to find our balance within the change. So Libra is a sign represented by the scales, and it's also about balance. And so when there's kind of unpredictable imbalance or even a balanced shift in an outer relationship, then that can often cause us to go in and recalibrate our inner relationship. So I feel like what's happening right now is kind of funny is I was going to explain things and then go into the channeling, and I just want you to know that I strongly feel that some of the things that are coming out right now are angel channeling interpretations of things like the solar eclipse because I have less time, and now I feel like they've kind of put me on fast forward, which is totally fine. The messages are more important than our getting our dates and everything right. But this is how this is one way that we sort of entered autumn was with this eclipse. We're moving into Scorpio very soon on the 21st of October, so next week. And this is when the energy shifts once again. And now it's a little bit different. Scorpio is very much about letting go and the falling kind of into the mystery when we don't know what's going to happen. And it's interesting because Libra is a sign that often deals with our partnerships and our relationships. And when I keep saying relationships, I'm talking about the really close ones. Like, it doesn't have to be romance. It could be, I mean, you could have these are kind of your ride or die partnerships. So say you have a best friend, if your sister or brother is your best friend, that can also fall in this energy and in this influence, even though they're family and you're connected for life. Libra is highlighting the kind of relationship where you come in with somebody else. There is often a contractual agreement, like a business partnership or a marriage, but it can also just be, a best friendship where even if you don't have to say it, that you have each other's backs no matter what. So that's it. And there's, for a healthy Libra relationship, and in order for it to maintain balance and continue to exist, there's usually a give and take, and the scales move at different times. Like, I need help, and then the partner needs help. And that's kind of the way it works. It's not always going to be that even scale. That's not how balance works. But moving away from that into from the emphasis being on our relationships, the next sign of Scorpio is really focused on how we merge with someone else. And this can be through shared resources, like instead of this is mine and that's yours, suddenly it's ours. This can be through shared time. Time is one of our strongest resources and often not talked about. This can be through merging, like physical merging in different ways. So, talking about sexuality and expression, this is all very Scorpio. And when we merge with somebody, we lose a little bit of our identity and a little bit of ourselves. This is also a sign that is highly intuitive. This is a water sign. So there's emotions, intuition. And this is a sign that's often considered dark and mysterious, which I love, but also magical. And I think this is in a sense of merging with something outside of yourself, like merging with divinity. You're not entirely dissolving, but you're creating something new, and you're part of the stew or the alchemy. And so you're still there, but the line between you and the other person, or you and the gosh, what do I want to say? Guide, perhaps, that you're channeling is blurred. And so this is another reason why um, mediumship often falls under or is connected to the sign of Scorpio. So when we enter into this season, this mid-central season of the sign, there's a lot about letting go. And I feel like this is what I'm being guided to focus on, is this shift and just this where we're at right now and what we are headed into. And so I'm gonna do a little bit of connecting and channeling for the group. It was interesting to me because when I tuned in for the group this morning, I was focused on some different directions. The way I work with angels, I was guided to also explain this at the beginning. The way I work with astrology and angels, and I'm sure there's many different ways to work with it, is I kind of see what the flavor is, and this depends on the the planets, the planetary movement, um, sun and moon, points of light, gravity, all these things, but also the seasonal wheel, the astrology wheel, which is based on the sun and moving across the sky in a yearly fashion. So it's a great big calendar is what it is. But anyway, I'm aware of that, and then I sort of tune in with that awareness, and there are different directions associated with different parts of the wheel. And so where we're in now is really associated with the West. So the way I work with it is I tune in and then I wait to see which angels or guides kind of come through and want to work with that information to give me clearer insight. So this is something I recommend everybody can try. And really the easiest way, I think, is working with the sun and these seasons, which are each 30 days, and tune in with just the general feel of the sign of the season. So right now, shifting from Libra to Scorpio. You could even play with checking in with Libra until the um, 22nd. It'll be next Tuesday, the 22nd, we enter Scorpio. Um, that you can shift and then kind of ask for guidance with that season. Like that would be a fun experiment. I also feel like there's a little bit of overlap in these seasons, even though astrology doesn't necessarily see it that way. I like to a couple days, like that window of change, I think is kind of luminous and liminal, and so that's fun to plan as well. But just knowing the basic energy of the season or tuning in to feel it and looking outside in your life also is sometimes a clue to see what is coming at you, what is showing up for your attention. And then in a protected, channeled space, inviting in any angels that want to guide you with this energy. Because I've seen online, and this is fine, but there are angels often ascribed, I guess is the word, to the different signs. And in my mind, there are ones that my logical brain wants to put with each side. I mean, each sign of the zodiac. But I find that when I tune in, the channeling, the insight, and the angels that come through are often not the ones that my logical brain wants to call on and associate. So I feel like it's a much more open field to just kind of hold a state of curiosity and then invite different angels in if you are already working with some basic archangels and are familiar with their energy and see how they come through. If you're new at working with angels, then I would suggest working through these seasons and their feel and asking. So when you get a certain feel, a certain feeling, um, if you get an image in your mind, then kind of like checking in, and you can always ask, like, what is your name for the angel? And then you can do research online to see what kind of they represent. But channel writing is another great way to tune in. And this is just like free writing in your journal and letting go of the, I guess, call it the ego, not maniacal, but the part of you that is the narrator. And so you can let other things flow through, and often angels will come through in this way, and insights and your intuition can start to flow, and that will give you messages as well. So for those of us that are clairaudient, like hear messages, and also, I find this is powerful for those of us that are what is the word? When you just know something. I can never remember the name of it. And it's the one that I access the most freely and naturally. So if you're one of those people that just knows, like your intuition is spot on, you get a hit, something happens later, then channel writing is also a good way to get those messages through, because you're not only hearing them in your mind, you're also seeing them visually with your eyes and then reading back over them. And then it sort of feels, for me at least, a little bit more like, oh, that came from somewhere else. I'm reading a book and this is the message, versus there's different voices in my mind, mainly my own, and often a message can come through from a guide, from an angel that sounds like your own voice. So the information is channeled, but it may not be in a different sound. Sometimes channel writing really helps to get familiar with that. So what came for me this morning was I was working with the Spirit of the West, and the angels that showed up were Archangel Gabriel, who is a messenger who is often associated with the West, but also Archangel Raphael, a divine healer, who's often associated with the East. And Archangel Uriel as well came through, who's often associated with the North. And they all had a different message, and we're here to offer to help support this group. So because I have limited time, I'm gonna tune in and see if I can do the channeling for the next 10 minutes. If I have any time at the end, I can um, talk about, well, we'll just see how it goes. We do have a Mercury retrograde coming up, but it's not until November 25th, and it's going to be in Sagittarius, which is a fire sign. So it's not going to hit during this time that I'm really asking for the messages to come through and relate to. So I'm going to go ahead and tune in. If you'd like, you're welcome to join me. You're welcome to close your eyes and feel yourself relax wherever you are. For me, it's most easiest sitting, but you can also do this lying down. And when I'm quiet, I'm just kind of tuning in, separating some of my own thoughts away from hearing messages from you guys. And I'm getting to share with you another thing, which is, if you don't enjoy writing, if you don't want to journal, another way to channel messages from our angels and guides is to use a voice memo, like on your phone or any other device. This is less natural for me, but it also has taught me to exercise my voice more and speak about what I'm seeing, hearing, feeling, experiencing. And then it just kind of also can keep us in that zone of channeling. So it's giving the busy left brain something to do, because you're having to speak and interpret the messages, even if it's just for yourself. And then this is also great practice for um, helping others and channeling for them, because you find your voice a bit. And if you already have your voice, it helps you keep it and practice it. So I'm inviting everybody to ground, which just means allowing your energy to flow down into the earth. And we have great support here. So you may find that it's easier to ground than normal and you just feel relaxed. That is my intention for you. And if you're not feeling this and you're having any problems or resistance to grounding, then do it through your breath. And with each breath, just release more energy through your bones where you're sitting and through your feet into the ground. I know that the earth spirit Gaia takes your energy. This is one way I'm getting, like, we're already releasing. So this is already happening. So when you release your energy in the ground to connect with the earth, to connect with the planet, which is something I always recommend, obviously for any intuitive work, but also for the heady kind of astrological study or any informational stuff, because our logical mind is going to different places, and it's so easy to forget that we're in a physical body, sitting in a chair, breathing. So we are the miracles. And this is some of the channeling wisdom coming through. So I'm acknowledging and inviting Archangel Gabriel with her messages and Archangel Raphael with any healing energy or messages, and Archangel Uriel with your light and your inspiration. And the messages are real simple. As this release is going on with your energy moving into the ground, they want you to know that you are the living, breathing miracle. So, yes, we appreciate miracles in our lives when things shift in our favor that had seemed impossible or improbable, difficult. But they want to bring the awareness and bring in the feeling. And I see there's this kind of like knocking at the door of your heart. So go ahead if you'd like and open those doors. Um, my doors, I haven't seen this before. They look like a tree trunk with a little door at the bottom. Yours could look like anything. But there's that knocking at the door to open up and to hear this message. But the knocking on the heart door is really to allow it in for you to feel it. Please feel this in your heart. That you are a living, breathing miracle. Your body is miraculous in all that it does. Your heart is miraculous to be open at any time in a state of uncertainty. And with that, they're bringing in, if you accept it, kind of a warm blanket or a comforting blanket or anyone that you'd like to see or draw up in your imagination and placing it around your shoulders like a shawl. And this is coming in with the word uncertainty. They're bringing you comfort and letting you know that you are loved and protected. And all three of these angels, and I also feel the spirit of Mother Mary, are congratulating you on how brave you are, how brave we all are for just existing in this world. We wake up, we're not sure what's going to happen. Our hearts can get broken, our hearts do get broken, and we continue forward and we continue to love. And they're saying that you learn discernment through years and any level of heartbreak and or disappointment. We can even just call it disappointment. It doesn't have to be with humans. It can be with just outcomes, situations. We are brave to keep going through this. And so this is the message, I feel like, for this season. How brave you are to remember that you are a living miracle, to come back to this, to accept this wisdom and this feeling into your heart, and to accept the protection, which can be a blanket, a shawl, or any way you choose to see it. And it feels also like a cloak of protection moving into this season. And how interesting that you can also wrap it over your heart if you want, not to close your heart, but to protect your open heart, to feel protected by archangels, especially these three, so that your heart can remain open, so that you do not have to fear about closing it. So I'm just checking in to the energy here. And I'm asking Archangel Michael to come in and also do a clearing around us. Oops. So allow Archangel Michael to clear your field, your auric field, anything around you. And he's also sort of clearing out things in your life if you accept this, or creating avenues for this clearing to come easier and with less difficulty, I guess. And then I'm also hearing that part of that is up to us. And so here is the final message, that when we open up to letting go and we open our hearts as we let go, which can look like forgiveness or just untangling mentally from the way that we wanted something to be. So without the clinging to what we wanted or what we had, an open heart and a willing, energetic release of the things that are no longer working for us. And this is vague because we're all so different, but we will know this by what's coming up in our lives asking to be released. This is very Scorpio, what smells funky like the back of the fridge? What needs to go? Perhaps what's heavy. As we do that, we can experience more ease and grace during a season of letting go. So I'm just going to thank these specific angels, Michael, Raphael, Uriel, Gabriel, the guidance of Mother Mary, our Creator, and the Earth Spirit of Gaia, for showing up today and giving us an energetic practice for release. So remember that you can ground for release. You can ask for your field to be cleared. And you can carry this blanket slash cloak through the season that can protect your open heart so that it can remain open. If you choose. It's always free will in the end. That's my biggest thing about everything. It's always if we choose. That's the way angels work, or connect with us, or reach us. Okay. All right. So my time is up. Thank you for allowing me to get through technically. And it was so wonderful to see some of you commenting. I don't know how to scroll the comments. Oh, now I do. Nice. Oh, beautiful. Okay, I'm gonna pop off so the next person can get on and not have technical difficulties. And thank you, Corinne, also for allowing me to be here. And thank you, Amber Minton, for all your help and support. Bye.